Digital image culture is something that's been around for about 10, 20 years now, but it's something that's been evolving ever since it started. Last decade we saw MySpace angles, the trend in which people would take pictures from above their heads for social networking sites to change the way they look online. It was not a very well received practice. A lot of people thought it was very vain and very deceptive. And while we're not exactly doing that so much anymore, the same principle is in effect, but the culture is different. Photo manipulation is the practice in which people take their pictures and use some sort of program like Photoshop or Paint Shop or a lot of really basic programs to adjust their images in a way that they feel comfortable. It's a way of negotiating their own image. In practice nowadays, most people don't change things drastically, like they don't actually change the shape of their bodies or the image of their bodies, but they change the colors, the contrast, the brightness, the focus to change the emphasis on certain features. More than anything, eyes receive the most focus of any other feature. As humans, we spend more time looking at each other's eyes than any other part of the body, and we use it to readily identify each other, even from for instance, when we can track where we're looking based on the whites of our eyes. We can identify who we are just based on the muscles around the eyes. Otherwise, skin color and skin clarity are good indicators of health. So when people manipulate their image online, they remove blemishes and lighten up their skin so they'll look healthier online. The general principle behind this is to appear more attractive to other people, but it serves other functional purposes as well. Some people use it for artistic expression or to make their image more stylized. Some people use it just to fix mechanical errors like overexposure or red eyes, and other people still just use it to be more attractive and to boost their self-confidence online.
Do you have the handout that you could refer to?
I do.
Yeah.
Until recently, photo manipulation has only been a device of major media and advertising outlets. They would use it for advertisements to make women more skinny and to promote unique ideals of beauty. But now that these tools are becoming more accessible and more powerful and more readily in the hands of the consumers, that balance of power is being shifted to the average consumer. The implications of this could be that, one, people are becoming more media literate, so they'll understand better how these images are produced online. And two, they may be able to renegotiate these images by creating them themselves. If they have the power to change these images, they may be better able to disseminate these images to other people and change the way people think about these images. Consequently, since this has become such a rapidly in popularity, its reception has changed a lot since the era of MySpace angles. While before people would criticize people who use MySpace angles as being vain or deceptive or just plain ugly, nowadays people see it more as a generally accepted practice. A lot of people do it at some time or another, and a lot of people, as much as 92% of college students, believe that at least some of their friends at some point have edited an image of themselves. 23% believe that very many or nearly all of their friends have retouched their photos at some time. And most people admit to having at least experimented with photo manipulation if they've had access to it. A lot of the reasons given to condemn the culture is that it doesn't really provide any benefits for in-person interaction. The argument there is that you know what you look like in real life, and changing your image online, changing the information that you present online in a digital environment is not going to really help you, especially if most of your friends are friends you know in real life anyways. Another argument against photo manipulation is that it's just a practice in raw vanity. When people are so obsessed with their image that they're willing to distort their image in ways that are not them, they lose a bit of their identity. And finally, that it can be misleading or destructive to relationships with others. If you give someone the impression that you appear a different way before they meet you in person, it can cause potentially disastrous or uncomfortable situations. A lot of people give positive reasons to accept the culture as well. For one, it nurtures self-esteem and confidence. People who retouch their images do so to create an image that they feel comfortable with, to create an identity that they enjoy. And since they have full control over their power, unlike if they were to go to a cosmetic surgeon or a hairstylist, they can control exactly what they want and they get a result that pleases them, and it changes the way they act online. And in some researches, when people believed that women were more attractive, they were bolder, more confident, sexier, funnier, and the women responded in turn. If people are treating women like they are attractive and they're giving them that positive response, they'll be more confident and they'll behave differently. Another boon of the culture to society is that it promotes creative and artistic expression. A lot of respondents in my research process said that they don't even do it to make themselves look better. It's like a hobby, because I went to a graphic design school. So a lot of people do it just as a way to express themselves, to practice their skills, which is incidentally another reason it is seen as a positive boon. It's a talent, just like cosmetic surgeons, hairstylists, or cosmetic artists. Being able to retouch your photo online is a skill. And it gives you expertise, especially in regards to media literacy, in which knowing how to change these things and being able to identify them and being more familiar with them will prevent these images from impacting you or distorting the way you receive these images.
Interesting. Thank you.
We talked a little bit about the relationship that, having a different image or an altered image online and how it might have a negative relationship, or how people might start to have bad things happen to their relationship. Can you talk a little more about that, or if you found that in your interviews?
Some of the respondents I talked to had a very critical reception of digital image editing. Like one person said, "I know what everyone looks like anyway, so there's no point to retouch your images. I'll be able to call you out on it." Other people said that people try to look like models, and it's disgraceful and a dishonor.
But then, how is this any different than the images that we see in magazines and advertisements? Did you kind of make any parallels with that? Because obviously all advertisements are retouched, but nobody really has a problem with them. That came up.
Well, the problem is media literacy. A lot of people can't identify when photos have been retouched. But with private and residential use of these programs, a lot of times they're not as significant. Since these are amateur photo editors, they aren't retouching images at quite the same caliber as the trained professionals. So a lot of the times we'll just get very basic, very broad, and very easy to manage modifications. Contrast, focus, blur, brightness, hue, saturation.
If there's still kind of a taboo?
It's still kind of a taboo. There is some negative reception, but it's significantly less. It's significantly less than it was last decade.
Thank you.
I'm actually concerned that's not honestly, but you talk about changing your photos and touching them up. Do you consider cropping or putting yourself in a different environment also similar to that? Is that also affected by that?
Yeah, instead of just taking a picture and publishing it online, any step you take to filter the way the image is viewed, whether there's something in the image you find is unappealing or detrimental to your image and you'll crop it out, or if you feel that something will benefit your image by inserting yourself into there.
Thank you.